Thoughts create our emotions create our actions create our results. The 5 most powerful sentences begin with I am, I can, I will, I release, and I forgive. Sometimes when people do affirmations, it feels so fake because they're not accepting it. So our thoughts create our emotions create our actions create our results. So what we need to do is first of all, get very aware of the thoughts that we're thinking. A lot of them are subconscious. That's why we do the work, because we do the work to understand where we come from and what the subconscious programming is, because those thoughts are living, breathing things that are actually causing our lives right now. So that's kind of the process. So if I had a chart right now, it would go at the top, thoughts, and then emotions, and then actions, and then results. And this would tie that our direct results in our lives are connected to the thoughts that we think. So that's just simply how it works. So just as an example in my own life, I've already talked about not feeling enough. So when I would think these thoughts, consciously or subconsciously, I'd be thinking it's not enough. Okay? So you can imagine if you're thinking I'm not enough, you would feel desperate, you would feel sad, you would feel lonely, you would feel all these things. So then that would then make me feel like I needed to prove that I was, because I wanted to feel different. So then I would start acting in very demanding ways of myself. I would work myself to the bone. I would be exhausted, right? I'd do all these things, and that would cause results. Yeah, I'd get a result in my life, meaning I might succeed in a business because I pushed myself. But really the result is I'm completely exhausted and depleted and still feels like it's not enough. Okay? So thoughts, whatever thoughts you're having are creating your emotions. Your emotions are creating how you act, and that's causing your results in your life. So everything begins in the mind. Now, Dan, you've never heard this before because I've actually just developed this. So I call it the 5 A's because our thoughts are the beginning of everything. You are literally creating your life based on what you think about. You can make it real in your own mind because if you think it enough, you're going to believe it, and it's creating your life experience. The problem is that most people aren't aware of what their thoughts are. So because they're not aware of what their thoughts are, it's just happening by default. So we need to become aware of these thoughts that we have, either conscious or subconscious, okay? So the first A is to become aware. What are the thoughts that I'm actually thinking about this? What do I actually believe about this? So this is where we have to begin. You have to become aware. You cannot change your life. You cannot better your life if you're not even aware of it. You're just kind of going about your day and life is leading you instead of the other way around. So you have to get aware. That's the first A. The next step is just to acknowledge it. So what I've watched happen for myself and for many of the people that I've worked with over the years is that they become aware of it, and then they don't just acknowledge it, they use it as a weapon to beat themselves up. Why do you do that again? And there you go again. And you get really hard on yourself. And it's like, I don't want you to do that. That is not serving you. It's not serving anyone else. Become aware of it and simply acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it. That is something that I used to believe. That is something that, I've realized about myself. That's it. You just simply acknowledge it. The next A is to now say, do I want to continue to believe that, by assessing it? So it's like you're aware of it and you acknowledge it, and then assess for yourself, is this actually what I want to continue believing? Or do I want to change my thought around this? You can change your thoughts anytime you choose. They're yours. As a matter of fact, no one can change it except for you. I would love to impress upon you that you could change your life by changing your thoughts. I'd love to do that, but guess what? It's not up to me, it's up to you. So become aware of the thoughts, acknowledge them, and then assess if that's what you want to do next. And then the fourth one is to actually affirm something different. So I teach the 5 most powerful sentences. The 5 most powerful sentences begin with, I am, I can, I will, I release, and I forgive. Whatever follows that is going to become your truth, okay? So I am, you can affirm something different. I am enough. as an example. I am powerful. I am. Whatever it is that you say is going to become your truth. So you become aware of the thought, you acknowledge it, you assess, I don't really want that anymore. That doesn't work for me. Then you affirm something different by speaking differently to yourself, remembering that when you affirm it, you're actually planting a seed in your mind of a new belief. So by affirming it, you now have started the process of changing the results in your life. And then the fifth one is to accept it. Now, the acceptance part in my journey has actually been the hardest part. Actually allowing that to come in and to say, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to accept this. I'm going to allow this to come in. And believe it or not, it's actually my brother, who I lost a couple of years ago, who taught me this. Because one of the things I realized about myself through my brother was he was trying to help me and I couldn't accept it. And what I realized in that, when he said to me, he said, Corliss, why won't you let me help you? And again, I had to really examine that belief. Not only could I not ask for help, but I couldn't even accept it when it was offered to me. And that started a whole other journey of examining my beliefs. You see, he made me aware by asking me that question. And that awareness sent me on a journey of acknowledging where it comes from, assessing that I no longer want to do that. I don't want to believe that or think that anymore. And affirming something different that I openly accept and embrace the support when it's offered to me. And I'm gracious and I'm grateful for that. And I had to accept it. I had to really learn to accept that and let myself actually feel that and believe it. Sometimes when people do affirmations, it feels so fake because they're not accepting it. So that's the 5 A's. I hope that supports whoever's listening.